It's never who you know, it's always who knows you. No matter what, there are certain places that are always the best place to be. And the Pass the Wire annual Breeders' Cup seminar has always been one of them. And that's not going to change, but this year we're going to do things a little bit differently. Yes, it's all about winning and trying to win and who gets the key to the AMG. So, what are we going to do? We're going to make a concise PDF that covers everything we normally cover in our seminars. We're still going to blast out of that gate and try and finish fastest of all. We are going to drive this thing like a fine-tuned race car, covering everything that matters. And if things work out, we're going to need a machine to count all the money so we can do some shopping at Cartier and Louis Vuitton. And if we win this battle, our significant others are going to look like this and be awfully happy. The first ever Pass the Wire annual Breeders' Cup report, a PDF specifically for you and a private Q&A as well for everybody who rides with us.
Sure, bad coffee.
Ciao tutti. I hope everybody is well. We are back with another Thorograph show here on Pass the Wire TV. We got the Pennsylvania Derby today. Last week we did the Iroquois. Those of you that nailed it along with us, glad that we were a help, and got a lot of emails and a lot of messages from people who reached out, which I appreciate, that they hit the triple Thorograph, and our reading of Thorograph was spot on. So we'll see if we could do that again for the Pennsylvania Derby, but the Iroquois worked out pretty well. We'll see what we could do here. To me, the biggest thing about Parx is that it's a quirky racetrack. Some horses like it, some horses don't. You could say that about any track, really, but at Parx, it's kind of a little bit more profound, in my opinion. And sometimes there's a significant bias there, and not only a speed or closers bias, but a lot of times the inside is really good or bad, or the outside is really good or bad. So I just find it a track that plays funny and is a little bit quirky. And I'll be honest, I only really look at Parx once a year for the Pennsylvania Derby Day, and they do put together a nice card. They've really come a long way with the cotillion, the Pennsylvania Derby, and the undercard. They've worked, and my friend John DeSilva, I call him Ace. He's been a big part of working to really bring that race to the limelight and get some good horses pointing there. And this year, like some other years, Bob has one over there. Baez is over there. He's been, arguably the third best 3-year-old, or certainly, top 5 kind of horse. So, the Pennsylvania Derby's got some significance. Grade 1, $1 million, mile and an eighth, right time of year to get ready for the Breeders' Cup Classic. So there's a lot to be said for the Pennsylvania Derby, which we'll get into. I'm going to give a shout out to a very, very, very dear friend of mine who is a steward at Parx, Donald Smith. Used to be a rider. His dad was a rider before him. His dad was involved in the triple, one of the few triple dead heats, but his was in the grade 1 Carter handicap at Aqueduct. Gail Smith rode a horse named Wait a Bit. Donald Smith, believe it or not, when he was a jockey, was kind enough to give me his book as a jockey agent when he rode in New York for a little bit. I was a terrible jockey agent, just not my cup of tea, not my personality. But we did win a couple of races in New York. And interestingly enough, we won a race at Parx, which was known as Keystone back then, on a horse named Monkey Bread that Donald rode and exploded, shipping in from Belmont for another dear friend of ours. May he rest in peace, Luke Hawkins. And we got the money and we bet. I think he was 4-1. And holy shit, I'm going back a long way. So if I'm right on that, we still got some brain cells left. But Monkey Bread at Parx, Donald Smith, jockey. I was the agent. Now, all these years later, I'm doing videos, and Donald Smith is a steward. Well deserved. So there's that. The other thing is, I said we had a lot of announcements coming. The first one has already been made. Our Breeders' Cup seminar information is up. We're doing things a little different this year for you. I think you will all love it. Hope to see all of you at the Q&A, which is available for anybody that gets our Breeders' Cup report, which I am putting a ton of work in, have already started. I'll be working right up to the Wednesday of Breeders' Cup to really put together a lot of information and a lot of shots to take and a lot of shots to take against. So check it out. It's on the home. All the information is on the homepage. It passed the wire. I'll also put it in the write-up of this video, so you'll have a link to it. And join early because we're limiting it to people that have been to our seminars in the past, and maybe 50 or 75 newcomers. We'll see. But hope to see you all there. Like I say, ride with us. You won't starve, and we're going to make it fun and take some shots. And one thing I can tell you is we don't play scared. We're going to try and make it count. So Pennsylvania Derby. Let's see what we got. Oh, and something else. Actually, 2 people messaged me and told me that there are people copying our Thorograph shows. I'm okay with that. All the power to them. If they're good at reading those numbers and patterns, do it. It's a great tool. I always say often imitated, never duplicated. You could only get my opinion and my interpretation of it from me. So anybody else that wants to do it and anybody that wants to listen to anybody else, I encourage it. All, we play against each other, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same team too. So all good, no worries. Not any problem with that whatsoever. As a matter of fact, if they have questions, if they want, a little insight, I got no problem talking to anybody about that kind of stuff. So all good. All right, let's get into it. Get this show on the road. Sherry DeVoe is so sandy. And again, for those that are new, we're looking at numbers and patterns. And if you are new, where you've been, you got to be crazy not to be watching these videos. But if you're new and you don't know, we're not handicapping the race, deep diving the race. We're looking at the Thorograph numbers and patterns to tell us who's fast, who's slow, who's too slow, who's going forward, who's going backwards, and what the winner is likely going to have to run in order to win the race. And, we've beaten some odds-on horses. We've identified some nice price horses. So knowledge is not free. You got to pay attention. Here we go. So Sandy from the rail at 2. Did not set the world on fire. 19 3/4, 18 1/2, 12. But got better at 3 and kind of doing it the right way, in my opinion. 12 3/4, 12. What is that? 6 1/2, big jump forward, then a 2 at Saratoga. So really came around. 2 is a nice number. 6 1/2 to a 2 is nice. The paired 12. So 3-year-old progressing the right way. I would say this horse has a good pattern and is probably going to run right back close to that 2, maybe even a little bit faster. I like that kind of progression. It is a big jump, bigger than I like. It's not that slow, steady that I like, but this is a pattern that that looks good to me. Alto Belly. Alto Belly runs a lot for James Nicholson. Okay. This is a horse that they don't mind taking over to the gate. At 2, 40 and a half. You don't see many numbers that slow. First start. 17 and a quarter, 22, 11 and 3/4, 19. As a 2-year-old, obviously regressed every time he ran faster than the time before. Does he do that at 3? Not really. 10 and a half, got better. 17 and a half, 13 and 3/4, 11 and a quarter, 20, 8 and a quarter, 9 and 3/4, 13, 20, 22 and a half. Not going the right way, not in form, not fast enough. Even if he goes forward, which his pattern doesn't look to me like he is going forward, certainly doesn't look like he can be fast enough to run with these. Magnitude, a horse that got a lot of hype off some big races, but I was never on his bandwagon. I don't know if I am yet now or not, but let's look at him. 2-year-old, 16 and a half, 13 and 3/4, 12 and a quarter, 10 and a half, 5 and a half. As a 3-year-old, fairgrounds, 9 and a quarter, so didn't go past his 2-year-old number in the first start at 3. I generally don't like that, but after that, bang, 0 and a half. Something happened. This horse grew up or had a throat operation or had an equipment change or something got him a lot faster, but he goes to a 0 and a half. Takes some time off, but comes back at Prairie Meadows with a 3 and a quarter. Then at Saratoga runs an 8 and a half. I don't like the way he's going. I don't like the way he reacted to the 0 and a half. I don't believe this horse, Magnitude, has a forward-moving pattern. I hope there's still a lot of hype or there's still a lot of believers in him, because I ain't one of them. And I apologize. I know I'm talking fast, but if you listen faster, I won't have to slow down so you can catch up. And I don't want to take anybody's time, too much of it anyway. So I try and get through these shows pretty quickly. And you could always go back and rewind it and slow me down if there's something you want to hear again. But I don't want to kill anybody's day or night here either. David of Athens, Brendan Walsh. What do we got with him? 1 start at 2, 7 and a half. It's a good number for a 2-year-old's only start. Churchill Downs, debut at 3, goes forward, 5 and 3/4, then a 3. I like his pattern. He's getting faster. He's got ability. He started out with some quality to him already. David of Athens, one to watch. Looks like he's going forward. And from a 3, if he goes 2 points forward to a 1, 3 points to a 0, 4 points, he's in the negatives. That's doable, especially this time of year. Happily delusional. We all know people that are happily delusional. Sometimes I'm happily delusional. Sometimes I'm unhappily delusional. 2-year-old, 16 and a half, 15, 15. Slow but steady. 3-year-old, 15, 12, 12, 8, 6 and a quarter, 9 and a quarter, 6 and a quarter, 7 and 3/4. Interesting, tough to read kind of pattern. Slowly getting better and not really regressing, kind of holding his own and clawing his way. The thing about it is, I don't think he's fast enough, and I don't see a fast enough jump to get him into the upper tier here. I do think he can go a point or 2 forward. I think he can go a point or 2 back, but neither one puts him in the winner's circle. So, interesting pattern. Not hopeless, but not for me. Goal-oriented, Bob Baffert. Always dangerous, Bob. He don't send horses where they can't win. We know that. This one was a late starter. No starts at 2. Santa Anita, first time out, 4. Comes back with a 4. Comes back with a 4 and a half. Grows up a little bit after a little bit of break. Goes to Monmouth with a 1. Now comes back here. Definitely going the right way. Definitely fast enough to be a major player. I think he goes past the 1. That puts him at a 0 or in the negative, which is going to be fast enough to win this race. Irad rides him. I think Pratt was riding him. Pratt probably had a choice between him and Baeza, where he stayed. But that don't faze me, man. I've been watching riders make the wrong call and jockey agents make the wrong call. And we know I might have done that when I was a jockey agent. I probably not, because I never had a choice. I never had 2 calls. But Bill Shoemaker rode Hill Rise instead of Northern Dancer in the Kentucky Derby, and Bill Shoemaker knew a thing or 2 about horses, and rode a couple of winners in his life. So, and then there's that Pratt might have just been committed to Baeza anyway. So, but this horse, live as can be, right kind of pattern, right kind of numbers, definitely fast enough to win the race, and can go forward and be even faster. If he goes forward, significantly, look out. Big Truz, another fast one from Brian Lynch, another one with no starts at 2. So we got 2 fast ones, both that didn't run at 2. This one started out really fast, 1 3/4, 1 3/4, regresses off those 2 fast races to a 6.5 at Saratoga, then goes 6.5 at Indiana Grand, goes to Ellis Park, and goes even faster than he ever did before. So he kind of bounced back with a 0.5. Fast horse, not in love with the pattern. He regressed off the 2 1 3/4, and then he ran those paired 6.5s. Now he went forward. Yeah, he did run 2 very fast races back to back. So you say, yeah, he can do that. But now he's running new top. I just have a tendency to think and lean to him not repeating that and regressing a little bit off of it. And that's probably not going to be enough to win. Baeza, a lot of hype, a lot of talent, a lot of ability. Let's see where he shakes out on the patterns. And he did fool me last time in the Travers. I wasn't sure he was going to bring that race that he has, and he did. So he fooled me. So, salute, Baeza. I don't like when they fool me, and not a lot of them do, but horses humble everybody. We know that. As a 2-year-old, he gets a 15.5 in his only start. At 3, gets a lot better. 6 3/4, 4, 0, 0 3/4, 1, back to that 0. So he got really good. He got really fast, and he's maintaining it steadily. Is the time off and the development and the additional racing going to make him faster? There's a good shot that it will. But even if it doesn't, he's already fast enough to win, and he's already shown the ability with 1, 2, 3, 4 consistent fast races. So he's shown the ability to maintain that grade 1 type of form and numbers. So Baeza is a contender for sure, likely favorite. But legitimate, right there. And if he does decide to take a big jump forward, and that racing and experience is finally benefiting him, because he was lightly raced, heading into the classics, he could be a force to be reckoned with. Gazga is another lightly raced horse. That's interesting. Another one, well, he's got 1 start at 2. I apologize. He ran a 9.5 at Gulfstream at 2. And then he was a vet scratch back at Gulfstream as a 3-year-old. Then he runs a 5 1/4, 4.5, 0 1/4, 0 1/4 at Monmouth in the Haskell. So he's paired those 0 1/4s. I tend to think this lightly raced horse is getting better, has more in the tank, and we may see a forward move from him. But he's another one that doesn't really have to go forward. He can just maintain and be a contender, if not, fighting for the win. Moplex. What do we got with Moplex? Moplex had a bunch of starts at 2. especially for today's day and age. 13 and a half, 9.5, 9.5, 9, 8. Doesn't go past the 2-year-old number in the first start at 3, which I like to see, but he does equal it. So he runs an 8, then he jumps forward to a 2, regresses a little off that to a 3.25, but then regresses again to a 5.25. So I don't like the direction that he's going. Even though he's got a fast race with that 2, he hasn't really run back to it and hasn't shown me that he's going the right way. So there you have the Pennsylvania Derby, and we'll go backwards. Moplex, I did not like his pattern. Gazzale, I did like his pattern. I do think he's fast enough, and I do think he's getting faster. Baeza, consistent as heck, but not really jumping forward. I'm not sure he's going to jump forward. I have a feeling he's going to produce that same kind of race that he's been producing, which puts him right there, unless I'm right about one of the others that are going to jump forward, like Gazzale or some of the others that we'll mention. Big Truz, I didn't like his pattern, although he's got that fast race last time out. Goal-oriented, I liked his pattern and development a lot. I think he's probably the one to beat, in my opinion, off the Thorograph. Happily Delusional. Didn't think that he was able to go forward enough to win the race, and thought he was only going to go, a little bit forward or a little bit back. So not fast enough, in my opinion. David of Athens, scary, dangerous. Does look like he's going forward to me and can be a contender with the right kind of forward move. Magnitude, didn't like his pattern. Alto Belly, didn't think it was fast enough or like his pattern, and under any circumstances. So Sandy, thought had a good pattern, thought was going the right way. Not sure that he's the best of the ones that are heading the right way, but he's certainly one of the ones that's got the right kind of pattern to go forward. So there you have it, my interpretation of the Thorograph Numbers and Patterns. So what I do now, sometimes I do these numbers after I handicap a race. Sometimes I do them before. When I do these shows, I wind up doing them before a lot of times. So what I'll do now is I'll go and I'll handicap the Pennsylvania Derby just like I would any other race. Read the past performances, watch replays, take my own notes, look at my old notes on some of these horses, do my pace projections, and see who's going to be where, when, and who's going to be running, early, middle, and late, and try and come up with the winner, and then plug in my numbers and see, plug in the Thorograph numbers and then see where we wind up and shake it out. And that's pretty much my routine with all the races that I'm going to bet on. And I am going to bet something on the Parx card on Saturday. So there you have it. Check out the Breeders' Cup seminar report announcement. We're changing things up, and we did that for you. There's a couple of promos on the site and on the channel that explain why I did it, but I really did that for all of you to make it easier and more enjoyable and a better experience. So hopefully it will work out that way. If not, we could always go back to the strict seminar, but now you're going to kind of get the best of both worlds. We'll have our Q&A, and you'll have a PDF that you could look at right on your device. You could print it out, take it to the track, whatever you want to do. It's all good. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you Thorograph for working with us on these shows. Remember, you can get the Pennsylvania Derby Thorograph sheets for free at Thorograph.com or through the link on PassTheWire.com. It's the Pass the Wire Race of the Week. You just go on that link, you enter your email, you get a file to download the sheets absolutely free. I don't know anywhere else where you can do that. There may be somewhere else. I just don't know about it. But thank you to all of them. And thank you to all of our sponsors with Spendthrift Farm, Sure Bet Coffee, Pleasant Acres Stallions, Amwager, special new one we got out there that I don't want to make the official announcement yet, but some of you will pick up on it. That is joining us. We're going to be doing a lot with this coming winter. for the winter racing and some quality, exciting racing leading up to the Triple Crowns. Hint, hint, 100-year anniversary for them. So we got a lot going on and a lot coming up. For those of you that are heading out to the Breeders' Cup, which is going to be here before we know it, reach out. Let's say hello. I'm planning, God willing, on heading out myself. Always nice to be at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup, where the turf meets the surf. So we'll see how that goes. So thank you for tuning in. Again, a lot more to go. I think Pay the Rent with Charles Trent hit the pick 5 last week, and he's going for it again this week at Parx. His show is already up, so there's always that to check out. And I guess that's it. Ciao for now.
Makes the race. We've all heard it and it's true. But what does it mean? More importantly, how can it help you to be a sharper player? Pace points. That's how. When dealing with pace in horse racing, you have to understand it affects races at every level, class, and distance. Not always how we think it will, but the impact is still there just the same. Knowing who is likely to be running fastest at the start and who is likely to be finishing fastest nearing the finish, that last quarter mile is the most valuable wagering asset. Pace Points does this extremely accurately, utilizing fractional times of individual horses, post position, track condition, ground loss, and other intangibles like rider tendencies. Pace Points lets you know at a glance two key factors: who is likely to be fastest early and who is likely to be fastest late. We've all seen races where it looks like there's a ton of speed, and then one horse clears the field, often going wire to wire. How about the turf races that look like there is no speed? Somebody is going to set that pace. We know they will. We've seen it before. Have you ever had one of those head scratches where the pace is slow, even dawdling, and here comes a closer running past them all late? Pace Points will help you navigate these pace scenarios and more. The races that show you one horse with 111 front running lines and a horse with 333 stalking running lines throughout the fractions of the race, and the horse with the threes that looks like the stalker is on the lead. Pace Points will help you sharpen your game, recognize these things in advance, and recognize great setups. Pace does make the race, and Pace Points will help you understand the dynamics of the pace and the race. If you watch Past the Wire TV and read Past the Wire, you have heard me say the numbers don't lie. They don't. That is why Pace Points starts with the individual fractions of each horse and goes from there, where the best eyes, angles, and experience in the game factors in post, trip, ground loss, jockey, and more. An invaluable tool for any arsenal. We'll put this crucial info at your fingertips in an easy to read, recognize, and more importantly, utilize fashion. I like to say simplicity is the essence of intelligence. And although Pace Points is on a pretty high level, we made it very easy to understand and easier to utilize. You're going to see a list of the horses in each race, two columns next to the horses. The first column is going to give you a number. The lower the number, the faster the horse is early. And by early, we mean primarily the first quarter of any given race. Second column is going to give you a number. The lower that number, the faster the horse is late, nearing the finish, and primarily the last quarter mile of any given race. So you'll be looking at a list of the horses in the race, two numbers, an early number and a late number, based on all the factors we discussed before. Pace Points, easy to use, easy to understand, and the longer you use it, the better grasp you will have on pace, making the race, and how it's going to affect the outcome.
To learn more about Pace Points or to try it out, visit pastthewire.com or watch Past the Wire TV. We think you'll be glad you did.
Are they talking about us? Shh, wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere.
Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Knowledge. It isn't free. You gotta pay attention.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Stovey, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbreds Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Remember, if you can't see our rearview mirrors, we can't see you.
You ain't smooth, you ain't never gonna be a smooth operator.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final front. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
It's not a matter of getting down. How low can you go? Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Nobody does it better.